with a heart caught up in doubt and worry. I face my life every morning, wanting to shine, but somehow holding back joy and fear, sorrow within my heart. Still I know, even one as small as I can run into someday and find a shining, shimmering, brilliant light flowing from a path that never ends. Instead of losing hope or fearing what's ahead, let's keep on moving forward with our heads held high, for we are all living in a world that embraces you and me with its love, supported by the prayers of those who care for us. We're never alone in our lives. When I'm down and ready to surrender, when times are hard and it seems so dark, just knowing each day that I'm never on my own gives me strength and courage to try harder. Holding hands with my friends standing by my side, swinging arms together we will walk to the shining, shimmering, brilliant light flowing from a path that never ends. Instead of losing hope or fearing what's ahead, let's keep on moving forward with our heads held high, for we are all living in a world that embraces you and me with its love, supported by the prayers of those who care for us. We're never alone in our lives. Instead of losing hope or fearing what's ahead, let's keep on moving forward with our heads held high, for we are all living in a world that embraces you and me with its love, supported by the prayers of those who care for us. We're never alone in our lives.
Wow, it includes my typing. It's pretty loud. Aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Mahalo nui for joining us today here at the Chula Vista Kōsha for the San Diego Church, Whittier-Rose Hills Church. Sorry, I have the hold on one second. Sorry, Whittier-Rose Hills Church, the Chula Vista Kōsha, as well as the Hiromae in Mexico, for this Sunday, for the February 1st appreciation prayer service. It's kind of very rare that we have our appreciation prayer service on a Sunday, and I thought it would be, let's try to experiment and see what it would be like to have it in the morning versus normally it's in the evening at 8 o'clock. But I wanted to experiment to see if this would be a good time to have it if it coincides with the Sunday. So today is our, we're holding the appreciation prayer service for February 1st. Some of you may be wondering, why February 1st? Why is that a big deal? Why can't you have a service on this day or whatever? You know, February, the first of the month, where I'm from in Hawaii, and also in places in Japan, are very special days. I've explained this before, and I know we have a lot of new people as well, so I wanted to share with them as well that the first is a very special day. And the reason for that is because this is an opportunity for us to reflect, to really reflect on the blessings, favors, the protections, guidance, not just all of that from Kami-sama, but our own actions in our own everyday lives. This is an opportunity for us to reflect and to build, to find ways to appreciate, to apologize, and to request things. If there's something bothering us within our hearts, this is the opportunity to reflect and say, you know, I think maybe this is a good time to do otoritsugi with Sensei. If you are not from the San Diego Church, whatever church you belong to, use this opportunity to send an email or phone call or a text message to your minister and say, I'd like to receive toritsugi, and you share with them what your thoughts are. The first is that opportunity for us to reflect monthly, you know, to really realize what we have grown and the kind of person we have become, so that we can continue to become better people, so that we can fulfill Kami's wish for peace throughout this land, that we can be the kind of person that Kami-sama will use. I'm not sure if you heard that. We can become the kind of person Kami-sama will use. So this is why this particular service is one of our shortest. It is the shortest service that we have here at the San Diego Church. All because I want to make sure that really we use this opportunity in prayer. Please note that during this time, there will be short moments where you will be able to offer your own prayers, what we call Shinchu Kinen, or silent prayer. Use this opportunity. It doesn't have to be a prayer of appreciation or request or apology. It can be something that is in your heart, something that you want to get off your chest. These are opportunities for all of us in order to grow to become an ikigami or living deity. So without any further ado, let's begin today's February 1st appreciation prayer service. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Let me come right back. I think I left something on the printer. Chido Haide, 4 sincere claps. I'm so sorry, you may not have this, but I'm going to start off with the prayer of sincere toritsugi. I apologize for that. Prayer of sincere toritsugi. I'm a Konkōkyō believer. I believe in Ikemi Konkō Daijin, Henchi Kano Kami. I've come today to practice my faith, appreciate and acknowledge the blessings, favors, and interventions of Henchi Kane no Kami. Honor the ancestors, and learn more about the faith of Konkō Daijin. As I learn more about the heart of Tenchi Kanokami, I nurture the faith of my spiritual family. Thus, I boldly confess that my mind is alert, my heart is receptive, and will never be the same as long as I practice the faith and receive Horitsugi. Yami Konkō Daijin sama, Tenchi Kanokami sama, thank you. Chido Haire 4 sincere claps. Chido Haire 4 sincere claps. Amatsu no Rito. Takaman no haran ni kamuzumarimasu. Kamuro gi kamuro mi no mi koto mochite sume mi o ya kamui zanagi no mi koto tsukushin no hyugan no tachibanan no odon no awagi hara ni misogi arai tamau toki ni aremaseru arai do no kami tachi Mono Magago Tsumi Kegareo Arai Tamai Kiyome Tamae Tomosu Koton Yoshio Amatsu Kami Kunitsu Kami Yao Yorozu no Kami Tachi Tomo ni Amen no Uchi Koma no Mimi Furi Tatete Hikoshime Seto かしこみも申す。Please open your prayer books to page 2 for the mediation prayer. Let us seek the sacred mediation of Ikiyami Konkō Daijin sincerely and wholeheartedly each and every day. May we receive the mediation anew, all our hearts and souls, on this day, this very moment. Ikiyami Konkō Daijin sama, Ikiyami Konkō Daijin sama, Ikiyami Konkō Daijin sama, Ikiyami Konkō Daijin sama. Silent prayer, Shintō Kinen. Please use this time to offer your thoughts and prayers to Tenchi Kanokami. Whittier-Rose, Mexico, New Jersey, 日本、コロラド、ハワイ、テキサス、アリゾナ、オクラホマの自己浸透、南長、南々、喜びと充実に満ちた一日をお迎えくださいますように、安全にありがたくお過ごしいただけますよう、申し上げられます。 光教北サンディエゴカウンティ集会、教派神道、金光教サンディエゴ教会、金光教チュラビスタ講社、金光教ウィッターローズヒル教会、メィシコの広前ニュージャージー、ニューヨーク州会、それぞれの関係者を内子らに最高最大最善の褒美がお与えくださいますように願い申し上げたてます。大難は湘南に湘南無難には使いのおみかげを与えくださいますように願い申し上げたてます。大病は小病、長病、難病には使いのおみかげを与えくださいますように願い申し上げたてます。大きい借金は小借金、小借金は脳借金には使いのおみかげを与えくださいますように願い申し上げたてます。健康在新規の間です。人間関係の褒美を与えくださいますように願い申し上げたてます。記念上のそれぞれのお礼をお願いしないをお受けくださいますよ。それぞれの願いが叶いますよ。どうぞ主の願いを申し上げてますみます。Prayer for grace. 神様 give me grace for this day, not for a lifetime, nor next year, next month, next week, or tomorrow. Yes, give me grace just for this day. Direct my work and bless it. Advise in the things I say and give them blessings too. Direct and bless everything that I think, do, and speak, so that for this one day I have the gift of grace that comes from your presence. 神様 just this one day, let me live generously and kindly in a state of grace and goodness that makes me a little bit like you. Please open your prayer books to page 17 for Heiwa no Inori or prayer for peace. Through our divine mediator, to the divine parent of the universe, let us pray. As precious as our own lives are, so are the lives of all. You embrace us with your blessings, wanting us to help one another and live together in harmony. Yet, when your wishes are ignored, selfish desires pursued, tears spread across the world. Your heart pains as people suffer, hurt by injustice, poverty, and war. Please accept our apologies as we strive to change our ways, to reflect your love in all we do. The peace of the world starts with peace in our hearts. Please grant us the courage and wisdom to see the goodness in all, to speak words of comfort and hope. Allow our actions to form a peaceful world where each is respected and fulfilled. Through your virtue and guidance, we pray with hearts as one, for all to live in peace and harmony, for all to live as one. Please open your prayer books to page 29 for Shintō Sanji. 仰ぎ祭れば天高く、仰ぎ祭れば天高く、拝み祭れば地は厚し、神の恵みに生かさるるみの幸い。ぞありがたき我が生き神の恩取り次ぎとひもあふる時のなく天地の神の恩守り遠き近きの隔てなし感慈しみはよろずよにあまねく道で果てしなく感計りはくすしくて人の思いぞを呼ばざる我ら今月今日やび祭りてひたすらに神の御影をたたえ祭らん神の比例を仰ぎ祭らん。ありがとうございます。一度拝礼 4 sincere claps. We'll now move over to the Vitama altar for the altar of the deceased. 一度吐いて 4 sincere claps. Please open your prayer books to page 11 for prayer to the departed souls. Spirits of those who have gone before us, you were given the gift of life in this vast and endless universe. You discharge your duties faithfully, each according to your span of years. You will be remembered eternally, your lives retold from generation to generation, honored as the foundation of our society and the roots of our families. We revere you as the ancestral spirits of our homes, our own divine spirits. We beseech you, stand by us each and every one. Receive the favor of Kami and help us to fulfill our tasks as people without failing. Protect us, guide us, enrich us, that we may never lose the way of faith, that we hand it down to all generations, that we may live in peace and prosperity within our homes. Protect us, guide us, enrich us. Silent prayer, Shintō Kinen. Vista Kōsha メィシコ広前の御礼前にお祭り申し上げます。皆様どうぞありがとうございます。本当に教会、勝岡教会、小倉教会、マギ教会、キリ教会、高崎教会、上野教会、六条院教会、和歌教会、旧ラーズ教会、旧大伝教会、岡山中部教会、広教会、北九内方教会、東八教会、大和教会、芝教会、八木教会、浦上教会、龍儀教会、前山教会、福島教会、浜田教会の御礼前に申し上げております。ありがとうございます。三人を不況、暴浪者の御霊の神様、そんで申し上げております。ありがとう。Appreciation prayer to the founder of the Tamamizu Church. Haware hao gunmo shitawa shiki yukawan no ushihaya. Haware hao gunmo shitawa shiki yukawan no ushihaya. 哀れしのぶも懐かしきうまし満ちてるみ柱牛や若の浦和の清き深きみ心持ちて神よい山い道を尊び何わへの広き遠きみ思い持ちてよう哀れみ人を救いて道のみ光を天かがし教えの恵みを国かがし人の世のもとつ道を極め尽くし神と人と一つなることわりをまさやかに教えまつぶさに示したまいし大き高きみいさおを尊み祭りいやび祭らくをめぐしときこし橋とみそなわして道の行く手をは松日のいやとに守り教えの子らが行く末を照る月のいや広に恵みたまえとかしこみも申す。Please open your prayer books to page 36 for Sosen Sanji. 遠い世の親は我が家の神我が神と心尽くしていつき祭らんな心尽くしていつき祭らんな尊きみ親の神たちよ海の子のために家の柱を沈め立てたまい初子のためにこのなりわいを守り助けたまい悪理をの見えぬ境にましませどもい尽くしみのみ心は映しよに変わらせたまわず先見たまのまさき先は言えたまいくしみたまのくしびん恵みたまいて志は巻の柱の動きなくなりわいは結ぶつなめんゆるびなく真心清らんに励み努めしめたまいふからやからやわらぎやいて金に剣にうらやすく楽しましめたまいついに移しよんことを得て神の御門に参らん時には必ずしも迎え取りたまい見尽くしみを葬らしめたまわものと神の実りの絶えなるをかしこんかたじけな耳親の恵みおぼろげならぬを嬉しみ喜び申すことをい心も涼やかにひこしめしたまえと申す穴くしびのみ親の御霊穴くしびのみ親の御霊穴とうとのみ親の神穴とうとのみ親の神 Please open your prayer books to page 19 for the newly departed soul prayer. At this time, if there is anyone that you know of or someone that who recently passed away at your church or within your community or at your workplace, please remember them during this particular prayer. Keep them in your hearts and keep into your hearts the number of individuals who have passed away within the past, what is it, 90, it's supposed to be 50 days. 50 days, sorry. I should remember that number. Past 50 days. よろしくお願いします。どうぞよろしくお願いします。Newly departed soul prayer. Spirit of the newly departed, we love you now and forever. Fond memories of you fill our hearts. We shall miss your physical presence, yet you will remain in our hearts forever. We pray for your eternal happiness. We sincerely pray with heart and soul. As a beloved child of Kami, you were given the gift of life, sought to live it fully each and every day. As you leave your physical form, please listen to our prayers. Whether in your physical or spiritual form, the universe is your eternal home. May you always be blessed with a peaceful heart and know that you're always embraced by Kami's love. Still hydrate 4 sincere claps. Hydrate 4 sincere claps. Please open your prayer books to page 6 for the recitation of the Tenchi Kakitsuke. ひがみ金剛大臣天地金の神真に願えおかげは我が心にあり今月今日で頼めひがみ金剛大臣天地金の神真に願えおかげは我が心にあり今月今日で頼め Pray sincerely, with all your heart, be one with Kami. Kami's blessings begin within, hearts grateful and caring, in harmony and joy. Look to Kami always, now and forever, on this very day, pray. Oración de tenchi kakitsuke. A través de Kyami Konkō Daijin, Oriatenchi Kana no Kami, con todo el corazón. A través de Kyami Konkō Daijin, Oriatenchi Kana no Kami, con todo el corazón. La gracia divina depende del corazón de cada uno. La gracia divina depende del corazón de cada uno. Ore ahora en este momento. Ore ahora en este momento. Shiro Haire 4 sincere claps. Thank you for joining us for this prayer service. As I shared, this is really the shortest service that we have at the San Diego Church, only because I really want this to be an opportunity for you to reflect, really, an opportunity for that. The one thing I've always, for the first of the month, one of the first things I've always done is I've shown this particular teaching. Now, this teaching is not from Kōsha-sama, the source of teaching. This particular teaching comes from Shodai O Sensei, or the founding minister of the Tamamizu Church. So I'm going to read it out to all of you. It says, 人間は力がないのだから心配は神様に任せよ。人間には力がないのだから心配は神様に任せよ。So the first part says, 人間には as for human beings. 力がないのだから as human beings have no power or strength. 心配は as for your worries, your concerns, 神様に任せよ。Leave it up to 神様。So again, in English, it would say, as for human beings who have no power or strength of their own, because they have no power or strength of their own, leave your worries and concerns up to, entrust your worries and concerns up to Kami-sama. You know, this is a teaching, I think one of the reasons why I really look forward to the first of the month, this particular prayer service, because I'm often reminded of this. I too am a human being. Hopefully, those of you who are in attendance today are human beings too, crossing my fingers. There's some people who might, I don't know, might think otherwise, but hopefully as human beings, we realize that we have limitations. We do, we have limitations. And I know for myself, with this teaching, I'm reminded, Todd, you have limitations. You have worries. And this particular teaching, though, I strongly believe leads into what Shodai O Sensei had. It's one of Shodai O Sensei's most popular, one that is repeated over and over and over again by many, many ministers throughout Japan. It's a short teaching that says, Kami-sama wo shujin. Ningen wa, I think it's hito or ningen, I can't remember which one, but I think it's ningen wa or hito wa hōkō nin. And the first time I heard this teaching was at the Whittier-Rose Church. You know, when we talk about the Tamamizu Church, which is our parent church, you know, the only thing I ever knew about it before really coming here was that it's just one of the big three churches. What I mean by big three churches is that in Japan, we do have some, you know, as in Christian society, you have your mega churches. Well, they're not mega churches, but let's call them mega churches. We have three of them. And I just knew that Tamamizu Church was just one of them. That's all I knew. I knew nothing about its content. I knew nothing about its ministers. I knew nothing. And there's a funny story that I tell about the third head minister of the Tamamizu Church. When I was in seminary, he had come to a Godaisai. And my goyo during the while I was in seminary for the Godaisai was I was to help at the Saijo. The Saijo is this huge worship hall that holds, I think it says about 12,000 people in there. It's rather old, but that's how big it is. And it's known because there's no middle post, like no middle post in there. It's just being held up by the sides. So that's what it's sort of known for. It was kind of at that time, in Japan, there was no other structure like it from my understanding. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to digress. I saw this man dressed in what I have on, but a little more formal, and he was surrounded by people. And I looked at the minister next to me. I wasn't a minister at the time, but Reverend Okubo, who was in charge of my group. I looked at him and said, "Okubo Sensei, oh my gosh, Okubo Sensei, the Yakuza come to Almighty at Konkōkyō headquarters for this Godaisai." And Okubo says, "What? What are you talking about? The Yakuza are here." Sensei, look, the Yakuza. This man was walking, and he's being surrounded by 4 other people dressed very nicely. And if I remember, they were dressed in suits. He was the only one dressed like this. But oh my God, and he wore shades. The man had shades on. So I thought he was a Yakuza member. And I was like, oh my gosh, the Yakuza are here. And Sensei Okubo Sensei looked at me and goes, "Oh my bakada. Oh, you're so stupid. No, that's Tamamizu no Sensei." And I looked at him and I promise, this is what I said. I looked at him and I said, "You mean the minister at Tamamizu is a Yakuza?" I literally said that, and he goes, No. That minister is the head minister of the Tamamizu Church. And if you saw his picture with glasses on, you too might think he was a Yakuza member. But that was just me. But that's all I knew. I knew no content. I had members. I had classmates, 3 classmates who were related to the Tamamizu Church. But I did not understand this faith. I did not understand the content of the church. I just knew that they were a big church. That's it. Have I been to that church before? Absolutely. I don't know anything about this church. I had no qualities. And so when I was at the Whittier-Rose Hills Church, I lived there for 3.5 years as I was finishing my studies. After morning prayer, we would go to the back of the church and we would start reading different books so that we could learn more about the faith. One of them was the Tamamizu Church's founding minister, Reverend Yasutaro Yukawa. We would read his prayer, we would read his teachings, and one of them, they came out, "Kami-sama, Goshujin, jibun wa hōkō-nin." And so Reverend Kyōha, my spiritual mentor's husband, said, "I wonder how you translate this into English." I said, "I don't know, let's look it up." Because I've never heard the word hōkō-nin, but Goshujin means husband. In English, we would translate, "Kami-sama is your husband." And then when we translated the word hōkō-nin, when we looked it up, it said servant. Kami-sama is your husband. You are a servant. We looked at each other and he said, "Yeah, we ain't touching this. We are not going to talk about this anymore." But we didn't understand the content or the context of that message. And so I never wanted to learn more about the faith of Tamamizu Church, again, after reading that one particular teaching. Who would have known that I was going to be here taking over after Reverend Hashimoto? I never saw myself in this position, but here I am. And so that teaching, so I said, Todd, because you're taking, you are the resident minister here, we need to learn about the Tamamizu Church. So I started studying. So the first thing was these. I received these from Mrs. Spies, and Mrs. Spies says, you need these. So she gave me this calendar of teachings. So every day I would read this, and then I started translating it. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't get permission to translate this. So I got permission from our parent minister. And then as I was reading the books, there's many books of sermons from Yukawa Sensei. And as I was reading it again, that teaching came up. 神様ご主人、自分は奉公人. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this horrible teaching has come up. I just don't get it. But that's what a parent minister is for, right? That's what parents are for. If you just don't get it, you can turn to your parents and ask them that question. So I decided I was going to do that. And I did. And I wrote to him, I really wrote from my heart. And I don't know if Masao Sensei, who's our parent minister, was laughing, or maybe I don't know if he took it seriously. I wasn't there at the time when he read my otodoke, or my toritsugi. But my toritsugi, and again, toritsugi can be about these things as well, teachings and doctrine. So I asked him, and I even told him, but when I translated this is what it comes out to me. I don't want to be a servant. So servant, another word for servant, is dore, which is like a slave, a servant. I said, I don't want to be a slave to you. I don't want to be a slave to... That sounds so horrible. So this is where I think Yukawa Sensei was so awesome. He actually took the time to explain things to me. He said, yes, I completely agree with you, Todd Sensei, that this is the way it's written. Many young people nowadays would get the wrong idea. But let's understand things from the past, from when Shodai O Sensei was alive, and when Shodai O Sensei had these teachings. And the way it was explained to me is, I want to share with you something my father and my aunt shared with me. And so I think this will help you to understand. Back in the days in Japan, if you were to go to someone's home to learn an art, a technique, it could be flower, it could be tea, it could be about Buddhism, it could be about learning to create sculptures or an art or something, you would come in as what we call a deshi, or disciple. However, your master would be that person you are under, right? That person. So that person is the person you're looking for. You are entering into their home, which means you are under their directions. However, it does not mean, this is where that kami-sama go shujin, jibun wa hōkō nin becomes important. Just because you are under their direction doesn't mean this side does not have any sense of responsibility. I hope that makes sense. Doesn't mean that this side has no responsibility. Because it is the responsibility of this person, this master, this minister, this person that you are entrusting your lives into, to make sure you are well taken care of, to make sure that everything goes smoothly for you, that you are successful in what you do. That is their responsibility. It means you need to make sure that you are fed, you are kept healthy, you are kept strong, so that you can end your training and leave a professional just like your master was. My father shared with me that, so an example is actually in my family. As my father and my aunt Frances shared with me, my grandfather was a master carpenter. So I don't know if some of you have ever seen those type of Japanese carpentry where they use no nails, no gun nails, no drills, no nothing. Everything has to fit in perfectly. Everything has to fit in perfectly. So that was my grandfather. He had that skill. Unfortunately, because in the United States, you have to make sure everything had to be a certain way, he had to learn how to use a hammer. He had to learn how to use a drill, and those types of things to build things. He had no choice. That's just American society. However, one of the things I've learned was that he did it to the most minimal. If he can follow the technique that he had learned from many years ago, on how to do this, how to do it the Japanese way. I'm just making sure everything fits in perfectly, so it doesn't need a nail, it doesn't need a screw or whatever. That's what my grandfather did. So my grandfather was a master of his craft, and he had trainees under him, people who wanted to learn under him. And my father would always say, I remember not always, but my father once told me, yeah, at breakfast, there was all these other men around, and my grandfather and my grandmother and my mother and my mom was making food for all of us, and dad was eating, and then they'd go off My mom made lunch, made sure they were off with lunch. And by the time dinner came, there was always dinner. And I don't know how she did it. I don't know if we were rich or not because we had all these people staying at our home. And that was actually one of the reasons why my grandfather was interned, was incarcerated in a concentration camp, was because he had that kind of influence. People knew of my grandfather's ability to build this type of structure with no nails or anything, or with the minimalist of nails in the Japanese way. So when we talk, but when I heard that story, it helped me to understand, as a Konkō, as a trainee, as someone who's still learning, I'm not a slave. I'm not a servant. I'm here learning, but I also have to do my part in the home that I'm living in. Does that make sense? I have to make sure I'm doing my part. While at the same time, my head minister or my master or my whatever you want to call that person, my grandfather, has to make sure these people are fed. These people are taught. These people know how to correct a mistake. These people know how to identify them. These people... He has to make sure that we are fed the knowledge that we came here for. He has to make sure that we are successful. That is the job of the Goshujin. Our responsibility is not just to learn, but to help out, because we are helping them. It's this Aiyo Kakyo cycle. This Aiyo Kakyo, or this mutual interdependent cycle. We both have responsibilities. This is where this teaching is so powerful. Because it means I have to realize that I have no strength. When I mean strength, I don't talk about this kind of strength or supernatural powers, but it also means I don't have the inner strength. I might not have the mental capacity or anything to be able to do a lot of stuff. So whatever my worries or my concerns may be, I need to be able to seek Toritsugi and have Kami-sama help me take care of it. I need to do my part as a Hokō-nin, do my part and leave that worry to Kami-sama. Beyond my master is Kami-sama. Kami-sama has that power to help us. When I think about my grandfather, there was a moment where they had no income coming in. And let me share with you why. This is where my aunt shared with me that because her sister, her elder sister, Reverend Haruko Takahashi, had been saved in Konkōkyō, so which means my whole family converted to Konkōkyō, and she had become a minister. The opportunity arose because the Konkō mission of Hilo on the island of Hawaii was wanting to, because their church was, the church that they had was still so small. They wanted to build a bigger church. They were able to get land, but the cost to build the church was enormous. My grandfather took it upon himself to say, you know what? We're going to build it. From the materials to the manpower, to the food. My grandfather made sure that they were there in the morning, they built, and then they left. It was probably a 2-hour one-way drive between Hawaii and Hilo, but he made that trip every single day. From my understanding, I don't think he stayed anywhere, but from my understanding, he traveled every day to build that church, receiving not a cent from the church, out of appreciation because his daughter was saved and his daughter received okage. Now my grandmother was freaking out. Apparently my grandmother's freaking out about all of this because there was no income coming in at that time. Nothing. My aunt told me my grandmother used to cry thinking, how are we going to make ends meet? I think my grandfather probably had more faith in Kami-sama than my grandmother. Because somehow they were able to make ends meet until that church was built. Those laborers who were my grandfather's disciples, I don't know whatever, trainees, so to speak, they were fed 3 meals a day. My aunt and my father never went hungry. They never wanted for anything. My grandmother just stressed out over everything, but they never went without. I feel like my grandfather left this up to Kami-sama. I think he realized he's someone without strength, without that kind of power, without Kami-sama. My grandfather felt like he felt he was nothing. This is why this service is so important to me. It is a constant reminder that I have nothing, that I must depend on Kami-sama. Yesterday, I attended the funeral service for Marsha Aizumi. Marsha was an amazing woman. We heard her. We were able to learn of her story of being born in Ohio, coming to Los Angeles, and her life and everything. Learning how she would react to her son coming out as her daughter coming out as trans to become the man that he is today. To forming this amazing organization that has helped thousands of people, not just here in the continent of the United States or in Canada, but also throughout the world, especially in Asia. This one simple woman. And what I did not know was she was a very devout Christian of the Methodist faith. But she did not make anything of just about Christianity. She honored those who were Buddhists. She honored me as a Shintō priest. She honored me. She didn't say, "Ugh," or "Oh my gosh, can't you just be Buddhist to make this easier?" No, she honored. She was a person who loved on people, and yet she, with all of her worries that anything that could have happened, and especially in these times that we are living in, you can just imagine what her heart was feeling, and she was constantly turning to God with these worries, these problems. Her faith, as her husband would say, guided her through. So today, as I end today's sermon, I ask you to use this opportunity of reflection, not just on the blessings, favors, protections, and interventions you've received daily from Kami-sama, but also on you. Also on you. Your heart, your job, things that are going on, regardless bad or good, to reflect on them. Use this as an opportunity to give thanks. Use this opportunity to share your heart to Kami-sama. Use this opportunity to receive Toritsugi. It doesn't have, and if you're not a member of the San Diego Church, that's fine. You can seek Toritsugi with the minister of your choice or the minister that you are church member, the member of. That's actually would be the best. Use this as an opportunity of reflection. I really believe that this particular teaching asks us to use this also as a reflection. With that, I thank all of you for joining me here for the February 1st Appreciation Prayer Service. Inside the chat, you'll see the forms. If you have already done the last 3 questions, don't worry about doing it. I'm just leaving it just in case there are people who have not been able to do it. If you haven't done it yet, please, I ask you to do the last 3 so that I can put all of those otodokes or requests, apologies, and appreciations into the prayer note. So I want to thank all of you for that. Please note, I just learned this yesterday, and I do apologize. I will send an email out to all of you and where to go. And I just learned this yesterday. On February 21st, if you are in the Los Angeles area and you would like to attend the Southern California Regional Seminar. It will be held at the Konkō Church of Gardena. I will not be there because the Mexico gathering is on this exact same date. So I won't be there, but please, I encourage all of you to please go to the regional seminar at the Gardena Church. So thank you all very much for your time. Please take care. Please stay safe. I hope to see you next Sunday for our monthly service for the San Diego Church and the Whittier-Rose Hills Church and the Mexico Hiromae. Please take care. Please stay safe. Ahui ho, malama po.